Hi everyone, and welcome to our November episode. Hard to believe we're near the end of the year already. Hope your Irish research has gone very well this year in 2025. We've got some ideas that might help you out for 2026. We'll talk about our Irish Saturday and what our webinar for the month of November is going to be about as well. So let's get right to it. Our Irish Saturday for the month of November will be held on November 8th, so stop on by the Hoffman Research Library, which is located at the Minnesota Genealogical Center in Mendota Heights, Minnesota. Now, here's an opportunity to get your Irish research questions answered, and the Minnesota Genealogical Center is located at 1385 Mendota Heights Road, Suite 100. You can also stop by the library during regular business hours, and to find out more about the library and the hours of operation, go to the website at mngs.org. And our webinar for the month of November will feature, I'm going to be doing the November webinar for 2025. Have you ever been to the Public Records Office in Northern Ireland? If you haven't, or maybe you have but has been recently, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to give you some ideas of what you need to do, how to get the reader's card so you can get into the reading room, and then also some changes in getting into Northern Ireland. We'll be talking about that. You can say, my family's not from Ulster, and Irish records really don't exist back that far. You'll be surprised at what you can find at PRONI. In fact, here's a good example. This dates back to 1597. It's from Westmeath. So yes, they have more than just Ulster records. They have a lot of Ulster records, and it dates back a long way. So we'll be talking about that. Members' fees are $15, non-members $20. And now, again, that date will be November the 15th, and it is a virtual-only event. Again, the start time is at 10:30 Central Time. The program is called Irish Research at the Public Records Office of Northern Ireland, PRONI, in Belfast, Northern Ireland. And you can register for this virtual-only event on the website at irishgenealogical.org. Well, before you begin your trip to PRONI, one thing you could do is start your research here. One place you could go to is Wisconsin Historical Society in Madison. Janelle had a chance to talk to Rebecca Hopman, who is the Genealogy Services Librarian for the Wisconsin Historical Society. She told Janelle that you don't have to be from Wisconsin. Anybody is welcome there. They have a ton of records in the library and archive, and she went on to explain what they have in their collection.
We are really fortunate in that we have one of the top 5 genealogical collections in the country. Our mission, of course, is to connect people to their past by collecting, preserving, and sharing stories, something I believe very strongly in. So we have all sorts of things in our library and archives collections, and you might not realize that our collections span the United States and Canada, not just Wisconsin, something most people don't know. But we are open to the public and free. You don't need an appointment to visit us. You don't need to be from Wisconsin or be a member of our organization. We have all sorts of different genealogy collections, programs, and services to help genealogists at every stage of their journey. So I just encourage everyone to reach out to us and see what we have for them.
And it's a super lovely library to visit as well, with a gorgeous reading room. So highly recommend.
It's a very nice space to work in.
Yeah, there's also the archives here as well as the library. So you can kind of compare the two different services that the Historical Society offers.
Yes. So we have our libraries on the second floor of our headquarters building in Madison, and our archives is on our 4th floor. And both are free, open to the public, don't need an appointment. The kinds of materials that are in the library versus the archives is where the main difference is. And generally speaking, what's in the library is published things like books, newsletters, magazines, published indexes and abstracts, government publications, things like that. Whereas with the archives, it's more unpublished original material. So that's things like letters, diaries, photographs, maps, court documents. So things that are a little more one of a kind or unique. Whereas in the library, it's a little more things that, for the most part, you can find in multiple places. And so that's why our library collection, you can actually go into the stacks, you can browse materials yourself, you can take things off the shelf. In our archives, the big difference is that our archivists will go get those things for you and make sure that if there's any special concerns about things being fragile, that you have the proper instructions and equipment to handle them. But everything is accessible to you.
And I know that from experience, it has been really great to come here and research. So obviously, as you mentioned, the library here has more than just for Wisconsin.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the specialties here? I know obviously the Great Lakes is one of them, but what areas that researchers are most likely to find here?
Sure, yes. So we have Wisconsin records, of course, but U.S. and Canadian records more broadly. Some of the kind of things that I like to point out, so certainly a very strong Great Lakes and Wisconsin area collection. We also have the second largest newspaper collection in the country after the Library of Congress.
Wow.
So if you're looking for a U.S. or Canadian newspaper, please check with us. Our newspapers are one of the parts of our collection that can circulate, so most of those are on microfilm. So if you go through your local library's interlibrary loan service, you can probably have that microfilm sent to you, as long as you have a microfilm machine around to use. So we have things like a really great newspaper collection. We are also a federal and state government depository, which means that for any federal government publication and any Wisconsin state publication, we do have those government records available, as well as a pretty large collection of other U.S. states, and apparently the largest collection of Canadian government records outside of Canada. Not sure exactly why we have those, but I think it's wonderful. And that's one of those collections that I think genealogists don't think about too much, but there's a lot of really good information in there when it comes to school catalogs, atlases. If you're thinking about the laws in the community that your ancestor lived in, either the local area or the country level, you can learn about what kind of laws were in place, what kind of discussions were happening in the government that really might have affected your ancestors. So that's a really great collection to look into.
Yeah.
We also have a really robust collection of published family histories. It's about 40,000 and counting. So that's something that, if you have Irish ancestors or ancestors from any particular place in the US and Canada, that's a really good collection to look at for these individual stories that either might be, people related to you or just experiences similar to those of your ancestors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know as well, on top of that, you also have things like Genealogy Society newsletters and journals.
Yeah, we actually have the sets. We have a pretty good run of that, and we do have some other Irish American specific genealogical publications. So the Irish Genealogical Society of Wisconsin, we have their quarterly publication. But also many others beyond Irish American societies as well. And then for those people who do have Wisconsin ancestors, the library is the place you can find our pre-1907 vital records collection. So anyone who was born, married, or died in the state of Wisconsin before October 1st, 1907, we have their records if they were created on microfilm. The early record keeping could be a little bit spotty, so I'm not always there. But we have things like that. We have a newspaper and necrology collection. So for prominent Wisconsinites, there'll be newspaper clippings that our librarians over the generations have pulled out and gathered together. But also things like passenger lists. We have actually quite a lot of published passenger lists for Irish folks. So both Irish immigrants, but also lists of ships that came to the United States from Ireland and the UK. So lots of really rich resources. We also have local and county histories and just general nonfiction history books for the United States and Canada. So again, anywhere your ancestor has lived within the vast majority of North America, we will likely have something about them specifically or about the places that they lived and the people that were around them at the time.
And that wraps things up for now. Thanks to Janelle and Rebecca Hopman for that great talk about the Wisconsin Historical Society. And hope you join us next month. Again, we're talking about the end of the year. Can you believe we're at the end of 2025? But we'll have the year-end review, and then we may have a few other things too on tap as we head into our last episode of 2025. So until then, have yourself a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you next month. Are you a member of the IGSI? You're not, but you'd like to be? Here's all you have to do. Head to the website at irishgenealogical.org. There you'll find the join link on the left side of the page, and that's where you can sign up and become a member. You can also register for any of the webinars this year on the website as well, and as a member you can also see past webinars from the previous year. And besides enjoying all the members' benefits, you can always sign in and go over many of the programs and services that the IGSI has to offer, and that would include viewing past webinars, surname interests, the e-newsletter. Would you like to be a volunteer at the IGSI? Here's all you have to do. Get on the website at irishgenealogical.org and scroll down to the volunteer link. There you can see all the options that are available to you. That would include helping out with the Irish Fest in Minnesota, or any of the social and educational programs, or you could even help out with the social media platforms and podcasts, or the SEPS magazine and Genealogist newsletter. Just click on the Volunteer Now link and sign up. For more information about the Irish Genealogical Society International, go to the website at irishgenealogical.org. And for more information on the podcast, contact podcast@irishgenealogical.org.